It's the Big Rich Live on the Mic radio show on YouTube. Tune in every Saturday and Wednesday for hot news and opinions, you dig? Like and subscribe and follow us on Twitter at BR Live on the Mic and on Facebook and Instagram at Big Rich Live on the Mic. Join the conversation and catch that fire.
What's good, people? Big Rich here. Big Rich Live on the Mic radio show on YouTube. We're back again, yes, back again, to give our professional, emotional, spiritual opinions. You don't have to always agree. Matter of fact, you can disagree. Don't get me wrong, we love the positive feedback. But when we do something wrong or something that you disagree with, hey, put it out there. Drop a line. Get with us. Let us know what's going on in your mind, your heart, your perspective. Because we are all one people, but we are individuals. We have individual thoughts. And sometimes when you say something or feel a certain way, somebody who has a different experience might feel a different way. And I feel if you have a constructive conversation with two opposing sides who are willing to listen and learn, that's the betterment of all people. That's the betterment of this world. So I challenge you all, as I do all the time. What have you done since the last time you heard the sound of my voice to better your community, your family, your neighborhood, your city, your country, this world? What have you done? Because let me tell you something. I'm trying to do my part. Whether it's lecturing, whether it's donating my time and or resources or money to the betterment of people who are less fortunate than then I'm doing it. Every chance I get, I'm doing it because I'm able. And even if I wasn't able, I would like to believe that I would do the same, if not more, to climb out the barrel. And while I'm climbing out the barrel, throw 2 or 3 people on my back, and then as soon as I get to the lip of the barrel, reach back and grab me about another 2 or 3 to bring it up. And then if they grab 2 or 3 to bring them up, and then they grab 2 and 3 to bring them up, we'll all be in a better position in this world. Everybody. And that's basically what we're trying to talk about today. The last show, which was Words Matter. I mean, thanks for the positive words, comments, shares, and likes and stuff like that. That's all great. But I understand that we can't solve anything in an hour show. Not on this show, not on other social media platforms, not with mainstream media. It has to be change and conversation through the hearts of all. These conversations need to be had in the confines of your home and discuss it. Discuss it. I think it's a lot easier for you to have a real in-depth conversation with your own. And when I mean your own, is your own family members within the confines of your 4 walls in your house, to have that discussion. And then you'll be able to have that broader discussion with other people of other races, creeds, religions, sexual orientations, this, that, and the third. So we're going to pick that up again with Words Matter. We're going to talk about the responsibility of not only us all. Remember, we was talking about the responsibility of elected officials and former elected officials, and that is something that we need to continue to talk about, and we need to continue to check those people. But I'm going to sort of steer it because I've been asked by 30, 40 emails, and I can't even count how many tweets that we had basically talking about this. It's our own responsibility to check people who are out there promoting lies, mistruths, omissions, to try to keep the old tired rhetoric going and going and going. It is up to us. But see, the only way you could be able to check somebody is if you have done the research yourself. That's the thing. You know, I've said this before in mainstream media show, last week's show, Words Matter. You have a certain segment of people, and unfortunately it's a rather large segment of people on both sides of the equation that will believe anything that they're told or anything that they read just because they were told and that's what they read. It is no independent thought. It is no independent investigations or anything like that is done. It is just such and such on this type of news on MSNBC or CNN or Fox News or The Blaze or VH1. I believe that because I believe everything that comes out their mouth. And again, I'm not saying that, just like I said before, I'm not saying that all mainstream media or social media pundits are lying. No. I believe most of them omit things. They omit things and jump over things that are not conducive to what they want to put forth. But we're going to talk about the national conversation that needs to be had. You know, not only blacks and whites, men and women, cops and community, but all of us. All of us. These are conversations that need to be held and need to be continuously held. It can't be done in an hour. It can't be done in a day. It can't be done in a year. It has to be a continual work in progress. But all sides have to be willing to listen. And see, this can't be a compromise. That's the thing is, you know, this is not a negotiation. You know, because people in the minority view, you know, whether you black and brown, red, yellow, you know, LGBT, that type of stuff. They're not asking for more than what the majority is giving. We're asking for the same opportunities. That's all. Do some people ask for more? Yes. But I'm not talking about it. If you really take a step back and do an out-of-body experience, most of the people who are in the streets that are on social media doing things like me and this little ass show and other people that have hundreds of thousands and millions of viewers and stuff like that, they're not asking for special treatment. They're asking for the same opportunities. That's basically what this country should live up to. The same opportunities for everybody, no matter what color you are, what age you are, what sex you are, what sexual orientation you are, what religion you are. And what you do with that opportunity is on you. Could you imagine that? You know, yeah, you're going to have people. Just think about this. I'll ask you this. How many people in your family that you just know ain't shit, ain't never going to be shit, never was shit, no matter how many opportunities they've gotten in their lives? You know, I mean, you go to the sports world. There are many who have, I mean, just great skills and didn't amount worth a damn because they blew their opportunities with foolish and ignorant choices. Bad choices. Does that make them bad people? No, but it's just like, okay, you had the opportunity and you chose not to take advantage of it. So when you have situations like that, when you know that in your heart that people have had equal opportunity, notice I didn't say people should have the same outcomes because that's bullshit. Excuse my French, but that's bull. People should have the same opportunities as others, as everybody else. The same opportunities to do the same job, to write the same song, to do the same program, to walk the same street, to work the same job, to live the same place. People should get the same opportunities no matter what you choose to do with your life. Now, what you choose to do with that opportunity, that's totally up to you. That then becomes a free and democratic society. Now, you hear a lot of people say that the United States is based on freedom and democracy. The United States is a republic. Look in the Constitution. Read the words from the anthem. Nowhere does it say democracy. We are a republic. It is an illusion that we are a true democracy. If it was a true democracy, then the popular vote would be that. You have a layer in there that your popular vote don't mean anything. Really. Look at the W versus Gore in 2000, I want to say. Gore won the popular vote. Look at Hillary Clinton before she was defeated by Barack Obama. She had the popular vote. So you can always see the pitfalls in any type of quote unquote supposedly democracy. But just because that's how it was, just because that's how the forefathers wanted it, if that's what they really wanted, doesn't mean that it has to stay that way. Just because in the Constitution, in the Declaration of Independence, and all of that type of stuff where it does not say democracy, it says a republic, does not mean that that's what it should stay. You have to think about it. This nation, when its independence was declared, it was originally 13 colonies, predominantly Caucasian American. You had what was left of the Indians, the Native Americans, and then you had slaves, which was black Africans, okay? They had no idea that the United States was going to be or become a melting pot. There is no other country on the face of this earth that has as many races, nationalities, religions, sexual orientations in it. Now, can you sit up there and say that maybe places like Russia, a lot of places in Africa, China, might have a larger LGBT community than no? Oh yeah. It's just not allowed, if you will, for that. But I'm talking about when you go across the board, when you're talking about race, color, creed, religion, sexual orientation, the United States is it, as far as the melting pot is concerned. So there's no way that they could have envisioned this 400 years ago, 300 years ago, 200 years, 100 years ago. But see, when you have the older crowd that hell or high water want to keep things how they are, hold on to these old, outdated, and sometimes racist traditions, you have no change. What you do is you vote them out. But see, the thing is, let me tell you something. Racism is real, and racist, I'm talking about the top line. I'm not talking about the people that how would I put this? I'm not talking about the people on the soldiers, foot soldiers. I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis that are out there and marching. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about the people who are in the Klan per se now, who are the grand wizards and whatever they call, walking around here with sheets. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the racists that are leading the parties, who are the CEOs of corporations, who are the judges, who are the shot callers, if you will. They're brilliant. They have kept it for 400 years where we were fighting each other. And if you sit back and think about it, the majority of us have the same problems There are poor white people just like there are poor black people. There's poor Latin people just like there's poor Native American people. There are disenfranchised white people, poor white people, and disenfranchised black and brown people, and red people, and yellow people. It is the same. LGBT people. We all have more common ground than we actually know. But the powers at B, or the powers, I said it right, come on. But the powers that are in charge, that are directing this, get people to believe bullshit, believe lies and rhetoric because I said so. Because I'm talking with a authoritative baritone voice. And I'm in the position of authority, so I say so. They have done such a admirable job, according to them, that they now get people to vote against their own best interests. How is it that 1% of the world has more money than the bottom 3.6 billion people on this earth put together? How is that most of the wealth has gone to... I'm sorry, I was wrong. Let me back up. The 1% has more than the bottom 99% combined. Where I got the 3.6 or 3.5 billion dollars. Those are the top 79, the richest 79 people in this world have more accumulative wealth than the bottom 3.5, 3.6 billion people on the face of this earth. How do you think that happened? That happens because we're too stupid to realize that we fighting each other while these people are sitting in a stand, eating popcorn, drinking Cristal and Dom Perignon, laughing at us. Laughing at us because we're too busy arguing in the mud instead of banding together and it's like, look, we need some of that bread. You have a situation, and I hate to pick on Walmart because they're not the only one, but Walmart a couple of months back had something that came out, was an article, I want to say it was in USA Today, I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments, if I'm wrong. And if I am wrong, put down where it was. But they was talking about laying off somewhere between, I think it was like 1,200 to 1,700 administrative people. Now, this is the same company where the Walmart kids together are worth $100 and something odd billion. I think each one of them have 25 to 27 billion dollars, something like that, together. So they're not starving. They got more money that if they stop working today, them, their kids, and their kids will never have to work a day in their long lives. And God bless them. I'm not trying to shit on or hate on anybody who making their bread. I have no problem with that because Lord knows I try to get my hustle on and make my paper. All I'm saying is we need to stop bullcrapping and talking to people and realize that we are getting punked. And it has been happening for years. Every time people wake up, that's when society changes. That's when regimes crumble. That's when governments are overturned. That's when hierarchy is destroyed. It happened in Russia years ago. It happened in France with Marie Antoinette. It happened in Libya. It happened in Egypt. And keep going on and on and on and on. The only place that has not happened is the United States. Why? Because the powers that be have brilliantly turned us and our focus away from them and what they're doing to each other and what we think everybody else is getting. There's the problem. The problem is that you have, and it's lightning and thunder out there, so I don't know if you guys heard that, but we'll see. Hopefully the lights stay on and we don't catch a lightning that's going to knock out the signal. And if it does, hey, we'll start again and we'll keep it moving. We're not going to let that or anything else stop us from having this conversation. But getting back to what I was saying, we have to be in a position where we have to talk to each other, not talk at each other, talk to each other. But let me explain this, and this is what I said on Twitter a couple of days ago. Life is the bell curve theory, and if you don't know what the bell curve theory is, I've said it in a couple of shows, but I'll explain it basically in layman's terms. It is a bell. You have 10% on one side, 10% on the other side, 80% in the middle. 10% on one side will believe anything that you say, will empathize with anything that you do, and they will change to whatever side they feel is positive. On the exact opposite side, you have 10% that no matter what you say, no matter what you show them, no matter what facts or video or history you show them, they will always believe that you're lying. They will always believe in the things that they were told, whether you showing them in their face that is wrong. These are the people, and not saying, I'm just using this as an analogy, these are the people that will believe that the earth is flat, and we all know that the earth is round. These are the type of people, is what I'm saying. And then you have 80% where the majority of us live, where we frequent. Sometimes you go this way, sometimes you go that way. In this area, you might be conservative. In this area, you're liberal. That type of stuff. These are the people, I want to say, that 80% are the people who need to have this conversation. Because the 10% on the left, already there. They're already there. They understand the inequalities in life in this country and in this world, and they are already there. The people on the right, you can't tell them nothing. You can't even talk to them. Like the Steve Kings, the Louis Gomers, the Stacey Dashes, Sheriff Clark. You can, and on and on and on. I'm sorry, you can't even talk to them because they're not listening to you. First of all, they think they're superior to you. So if I feel that I'm superior to you and my ancestors were superior to yours, i.e. my ancestors own yours, why do I need to talk to you? That's their mentality. So you got to leave them. You got to leave them to their own devices. They're going to be, and they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. See, people are now, with Google and Bing and the internet as a whole, people are now getting woken up to the reality of what has happened in the past and what continues to happen now. People are waking up, and I'm not just talking about black and brown people. I'm talking about white people. I'm talking about Asian people. People are now starting to understand. It's slowly but surely. We at the precipice, and I know I pronounced that wrong, my bad. But we are at the tipping point to tip the conversation over and start heading downhill in a fast way. And when I mean downhill, not in a negative way, to a point where these people that are holding on to this old, racist, outdated lie, this bigoted and racist rhetoric, are getting older, they're getting dumber, and they're getting less powerful. The fact of the matter is, you have a whole generation of people who have been raised in the internet age, and they're listening to small people like me, all the way to the young Turks that have almost 3 million viewers. This here on the internet, on YouTube, is where you are getting the majority of your training and your facts. Unfortunately, you still have that 10% that puts up that nonsense, that supremacist views, where you feel that just because you have this particular hue, this color of skin, that you and your ancestors were bigger and better and more superior than anybody else, which is not scientifically proven, and it's totally ridiculous. So unfortunately, you have that. You have your pros and your cons with anything. So yes, YouTube has a lot of progressive, and I say progressive thinking, because let me tell you something. For years, I wasn't woke. Anybody who knows me that knows that I have served pretty much the government, my country for 6 years, my community for 23 years, almost 30 years. I'm 48. that means 3/4 of my life I have protected and served either my country or my community. I'm college educated, I own my own business. I say this all the time. There's been a lot of times where I wasn't woke. I'm like, well, I understand racism is out there and it's pervasive and it is a virus. But it's not really bothering me or people in my inner circle. So, you try to do and speak up when you can, but it's not a way of life. I'm woke now. And I'm hoping that the people who continue to listen to the sound of my voice and continue to chop it back and forth on Twitter, Instagram, and have joined our Facebook group, our Facebook page, are also open-minded. It's like, what, enough is enough. Enough is enough. People want to talk about how far it's come. It's come far, but not far enough. You tell me that, or you show me how the same things that Dr. King and Malcolm X and the Black Panthers and the Woodstock hippies, if you will, the ACLU, all of these type of NAACP, these organizations are fighting for the same things in 2016 that they was fighting in 1950, 1960, 1970. It is never moved. It's never shifted, if you will. It has moved, but it has not shifted. I should not be having the same conversations, the same demands that my mom had. That's a whole generation. My daughter, who is 25, should not be dealing with the same things that I was dealing with, that my mother was dealing with, that my grandmother was dealing with. So I don't want to hear, oh, we've come so far. Yes, we've moved. Progress has been made. Most definitely. And I am grateful, and I am one of the people, and a lot of people that I know have benefited from that move. But the fact of the matter is, all of us should benefit from the move. And I'm not just talking about black and brown people. I'm talking about all of us should move. All of us should prosper from any type of movement to a more equal and just society. Because that's all what anybody wants. That's all what anybody wants. A lot of people have brought up to me that, that I believe in reparations and stuff like that. Yes, I do. I think that there is a debt to be paid for what African Americans have contributed to this great nation. Sorry. The Jews have gotten reparations. The Native Americans have gotten reparations. The Japanese that were in the internment camps, they got reparations. Did they deserve it? Yeah. They were wrong. But you think about, when you talk about the Jews, the United States didn't. Last time I checked, the United States didn't have any concentration camps. But yet and still, there were reparations paid, and they still paid. And the horrific Holocaust that they went through, they deserve to be paid. They deserve to be made whole. I am not hating or throwing any shade on any group that has received reparations. But what I say is, why not African Americans? I tell you why a lot of people feel it is not. It's because of the government, local, state, and federal, the media, and the Board of Education has perpetuated a lie to make people think that African Americans were slaves. We were set free by this great emancipator. And then for the last 150 years, we ain't been doing nothing as a whole. People don't want to talk about Jim Crow. They don't want to talk about mass incarceration. They don't want to talk about the war on drugs. They don't want to talk about redlining with housing and loans. They don't want to talk about any of that. So yes, I do feel that there's a debt to be paid. Now, do I feel that it should be paid off in money? No, because the United States could never pay for the debt. They could never pay the debt owed to African Americans and their ancestors with dollars. It would bankrupt this country. It would. You just think about it. Look at all the things that are made from cotton. Think about things like peanut butter. Think about things like open heart surgery. Think of these things that have been done. Jim Beam whiskey. I brought that up a couple of shows ago. I just recently found out, showing my ignorance, and I'm only mad at myself because at 48, there should not be a whole lot that I don't know about the contributions of African Americans and black people as a whole to this world. I don't know because I have not applied myself to know. But like I said, I'm woke. And this is not to throw shade on anybody else's race, color, creed, religion, or whatever. I feel that we all contributed. Maybe not equally, but we all contributed to what the United States is today. Good, bad, good and bad. But I'm saying there is a debt owed and it should be repaid. I don't know if it's free tuition. I don't know if it's not paying taxes for 20 years, 10, 20. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is. I know that if it was something like that, you won't see a whole lot of people who claim to be black. If it was something like that, I mean, could you imagine that? Could you imagine if they was like, oh, okay, well, we understand that the debt is to be paid and, African Americans don't have to pay taxes for the next 20 years. You'd be surprised how many people will be, well, I'm 2% African American, that type of stuff. So I don't know what the answers are, but I will say I do feel that a debt is owed and needs to be repaid. And I do feel that maybe not even my lifetime, because I figure I'm going to be here about a good 40, 45 more years, God willing. It may or may not be in my lifetime, but I believe after a while, there's going to be somebody who's bold enough, and there's going to be enough open-minded progressive in Congress, in the White House, in the Supreme Court that will take up this argument and do what's right. That's all it is. Just do what's right. That's all you ever ask. To do what is right. And again, I don't need no bread. I live quite comfortably. So this is not about me. This is not about me at all. It is about doing what's right by all people. That's all you ask. That's all you ask. But we get back to checking people. There's two instances that happened. One I mentioned at the last show when I was talking about the detective that was on CNN with Cuomo, and it was Mark of my Hill, and it was a detective, a former detective from NYPD. I want to say his name is Hork, H-O-R-K, I'll say C-K, something like that. I don't know. Anybody, put that at the bottom and let me know if I'm wrong. And he had made a ludicrous, first of all, he brought up some made up stats and made a ludicrous assumption about, I think it was like 71% of crimes are done by African Americans in New York City, and 70% of murders are done by African Americans in New York City. And Mark was not given the chance to reply. I'm not even getting to Mark. Cuomo knew that was wrong. He knew that was a lie. He should have checked the detective before Mark of my Hill or anybody else got to say anything. This is the cowardice of people who are in positions in the mainstream media and allow people to say racist and bigoted and untrue things and not get checked. and not get checked. Last week, and I think the thing with Marcus Myhill was the week before last, but last week there was something that came out. It was a segment that DL Hughley, shout out to DL. I mean, he funny as hell, but he has been putting it down here on national media, mainstream media, like it needs to be put down, But he gets on and he was talking about something that Rudy Giuliani said, and he was not checked on it, he was not corrected on it, and then Cuomo comes up and basically cuts DL off and say, oh, well, not on this network. And it really didn't dawn on me the first time he said it. And I watched that segment 5 or 6 times. I retweeted it. Matter of fact, if you go on our Facebook page, it's facebook.com/Big Rich on the mic. You go to our Facebook page, go down about halfway, you'll be able to see it yourself. And it took me maybe until over the weekend when I realized this is the same person that allowed a bigoted cop from NYPD to come on and say something that was totally untrue and totally made up and did not check him. Went to a break. Did not check him. So see, it's easy for you to say that or shut down one area. But when people start rolling back the days and looking at the segments, you realize that what you said is a lie. What you just full of crap. I don't care who it is. I don't care if Hillary, and everybody understands and knows. If you don't, I'm gonna say it again. I am not a Hillary fan. I'm not. I don't like Hillary Clinton. I don't like her politics. I think she's a phony. I think she is what they call a dyed-in-the-wool political pundit. I do not think that she's grassroots. I do not think any of that. I think everything to her looks scripted. So I'm not a Hillary Clinton fan or an apologist at all. But I would say, because I used to be a Democrat and now I'm an independent, if Hillary Clinton comes on and says something that is outlandish or something that's out true, she needs to be checked and shut down immediately. Immediately. And if you are not going to do it, as the host, as the moderator, the mediator, whatever you want to say, then somebody on the panel should be given that chance to check that person, as long as it's not on an emotional level. If I'm giving you facts, which are made up or whatever, you should be able to come back to me with facts. He wasn't never given that opportunity. But when DL was on the same show about a week after that and brought up Rudy Giuliani, and granted, the Rudy Giuliani idiocy was on Fox News, it wasn't on CNN, but when he brought that up, Cuomo was real quick to say, not on this channel, not on this network. Well, you just did it last week. You just did it last week. Now, yesterday, I try my best not to watch anything dealing with the Republican National Committee or Convention. The Republican National Convention. Okay? I can't. I just can't. It is just pure, hateful, bigoted, racist, and nonsensical lies from one person to another person. So I elect to not give time and energy to watching that all day, because that time I can never get back. I can utilize that time thinking of ways to bring us together, thinking of ways to lift up a people, to lift up a class, to be a positive role model to all, and to try to use my experience to be a bridge so we can have a larger dialogue. But I get retweeted and direct messaged all the time. So they shot me this segment where Congressman, and I use that very loosely, but Congressman Steve King has the nerve to get on CNN and say that Europeans, basically white people, have done everything to build up Western civilization. I think his quote was, "Name me one subculture." What the hell is a subculture? That's my first thing. What subculture has contributed to the betterment of the world? Really? Now, there was Steve King, there was Chris Hayes, there was a political correspondent, African American female, I don't know her name, and then another Caucasian male who was also a political pundit. Both of them work for news organizations or newspapers. I'm sorry, I don't have that here. But again, if you go down my Twitter stream, which is capital B, capital R, live on the mic, on Twitter, you can actually see where I retweeted it and where I commented on it. So after he says that, the two that are on Chris Hayes' left side, the African American female and the Caucasian male, began to jump on him to check him. What does Chris Hayes do? Chris Hayes, with this goofy, awkward smile, no, we're not going to argue and all of this type of stuff. I have lost all respect for Chris Hayes. All respect. Chris Hayes has slapped progressive people in the movement in the face by not allowing, first of all, let's get to allowing, for not checking Steve King on that lunacy. Or if he did not want to do it because he wanted to remain neutral, he should allow one of the two that was on his left to check him. And I call him a coward. And I tweeted him this morning that he was a coward and I will not watch his show again. And I will push for all of my listeners, not that I have, thousands and thousands, but hey, we pushing towards that. We trying to get our gangster going and stuff like that. But I will promote the message for people not to watch his show. That was a coward move. That was a coward. I do not expect that from, or did not expect that from Chris Hayes. I expect that. You know what? I can't even say it. Let me back up. I wouldn't even expect that from Chris Matthews from Hardball, or Joe Scarborough from Morning with Joe. And Joe is a staunch conservative, a Republican, and Chris Matthews is sort of an asshole. But I'm not even getting to that. You see them, they're on one side. I know Tamara Hall wouldn't let that go. Alex Wagner wouldn't let that go. Joanne Reed wouldn't let that go. Lawrence, what's Lawrence's last name? Oh, it'll come to me. I'm sorry, Lawrence. But he wouldn't let that go. Chris Hayes was like a deer in the headlights. And you just look at it, he was flabbergasted. And you notice when just looking at psychology, when you are caught off guard, when you are embarrassed, some people smile, they laugh. I don't think, see, that's the thing is, a lot of people that I have texted me, have tweeted me, are saying, oh, he was just laughing. I don't think that that's what it was. I don't think that he was laughing because he thought it was funny. I'm thinking that he got caught off guard. And again, this is me, I don't know Chris Hayes. I've been watching him. I've been watching Chris Hayes for almost 8 years. Every night. So you kind of sort of get an idea of how a person is, a man or a woman, when you listen to them. If you have an open mind now. when you listen to them. There's certain people I can't listen to, but I tried to get them the benefit of the doubt, the Bill O'Reillys, the Sean Hannitys, the Megyn Kellys, the Spock, the Glenn Becks, the Sarah Palins, the Ann Coulters. Conservative. But I can't, in all honesty, check these people or dismiss these people until I have listened to them. Fortunately for me, it don't take long for them to continue to talk, or you read an article that they wrote to understand that they on a different planet. Their glasses that they're looking through are totally different than everybody else in this country is looking through. But this is when I talk about being accountable. This is what I'm talking about when we have a responsibility. When you have the conversation, when you are having that conversation about race, about class, about sex, about religion, about sexual orientation, those 10%, the Louis Gomers, the Steve Kings, the Megyn Kellys, the Bill O'Reillys, Glenn Becks, and Coulters, you got to leave them alone. Because nothing that you say is going to change their rhetoric. Nothing. They're going to be, I just understand this to be true. People are, I say this before, I say it again, people are getting woke, and it's just not black and brown people. This rhetoric, these people will shrink smaller and smaller and smaller. They'll always be around. Evil will always be around. Racism will always be around, but it'll become irrelevant. It'll be a fringe group. I feel that the GOP is a dead party walking. They are walking around bleeding out of the throat, of the carotid artery, and don't even know it. They don't even know it. Barring something that comes out about Hillary Clinton, even if I don't like her, if she's pushing a progressive and an open-minded, inclusive platform, I got to get behind that. But barring something that comes out that she turns people off, this should be as close to a landslide as possible. And if that happens, it's a big if, but if that happens, you can pretty much stick a fork in the GOP as a national platform, a national party. And I really believe, I could be totally wrong, but I really believe state governments in Texas and Tennessee and North Carolina and South Carolina, some in Georgia, I truly believe they understand that themselves. So what they do is, or what they've done is, they've taken over the state and local elections, because they understand that they cannot win a national election. So yes, you the president, yes, you might have Senate locked up, because I do believe that the Democrats will capture the Senate if they do the right thing. But we'll get on that. I mean, when we talk about politics, that's going to be another show. It might even be Saturday's show. I got to see. I got like 4 or 5 other subjects that people are really clamoring to hear. But we might talk about politics, and we'll talk about the two parties and stuff like that. We might do that for Saturday's show. But, to sort of bring everything back into the prism of holding people accountable, words matter, showing a backbone. This is what you have to do. You have to understand that if you put somebody like a Rudy Giuliani on, he is going to say something outlandish and idiotic and racist and bigoted. When you put a Louis Gomer, he's going to say something stupid. When you put a Steve King on, he's going to say something racist and bigoted, like he don't know no better. And maybe neither one of them really know any better. Maybe they was brought up in an area where it was just white people. all they learned and all they saw on Fox News was how black and brown people ain't shit. Maybe that's where they coming from. Maybe that's why. I don't understand how you can look at a person who says the things that they say and actually respect them. How do you do that? How do you do that? But I digress. We need to start holding everybody accountable to do their own part. We need to hold our elected officials. We need to hold our entertainers. We need to hold our mass and mainstream media. We need to hold ourselves. We need to hold the police. We need to hold, local, state, and federal government. We need to hold their foot to the fire and make them live up to the creed of the United States for all people. We need to stop rolling over. And when people do stuff, when you have people that are on these news organizations and they don't check these people, when they sitting in the chair, it's easy for Chris Hayes or a Rachel, and I love Rachel Maddow. So I hate to put them in the same thing, but I'm just saying, Lawrence O'Donnell, I tell you I would. Somebody put that in there. Somebody told me Lawrence O'Donnell. My bad, Lawrence. But when you have, they fact check these people all the time. That's good. But it's better to check them right there. Let me tell you something. If Chris Hayes had said something, or Cuomo 2 weeks before that had said something to these guys and broke it down to some truth, all they'll do is just try to talk you down. I have no doubt that if Chris Hayes had to let one of those two talk, or he had to check Steve King would have sat there like an idiot and just smiled and laughed. He knew he got what he needed to get off on MSNBC, because I don't remember Louis Gohmert or Steve King coming on any one of those networks, or it's not any one of those networks, MSNBC in the past. They could have. I don't watch MSNBC 24 hours a day. I don't. So I don't know. But this is when you check somebody. This is when you be like, dude, that don't make no sense. That's just flat out not true. How can you sit up here and say that? You ask and you press him. How can you sit up there and say that? On what earth? What facts do you have that leads you to believe, not only believe that, but say that on national TV? Chris Hayes is a coward. Cuomo is a coward. I look at them totally different. Now, I know I'm not watching Chris Hayes' show again. And like I said before, I have tweeted him that. He probably don't give a damn, but hey, it is what it is. Everybody who all of my Twitter followers will understand, and they will see that I'm not watching his show anymore, because that was a coward move. Chris Hayes would have to come out and he would have to basically check himself. Hey, I screwed up. I should have checked Congressman Steve King to the facts and made him explain how did he come up with that, and why would he say something that we know is untrue. That's coward. That's coward speak, because I understand and I know that if something was said on Bill O'Reilly's show, or Sean Hannity's show, or Chris Matthews' show, or Joe Scarborough's show, and it wasn't true, they would have checked it. Because when I can't remember, this is probably about a month ago on Morning Joe, it was a Caucasian gentleman. He was a star, like a B-list star that used to be in sitcoms. I can't remember his name. Please forgive me. But he was saying that he feels that the people who are following Trump are bigots. Okay, you can't really make that broad statement. that he's going to bring this country together. You know what I'm saying? But again, whether you agree with it or not, and if you notice something, and I'm not saying that it's untrue what he said, what I'm just saying is it might be a little bit for him to put that out and paint with a broad brush when you haven't met or spoke to everybody who follows Trump. Now, when you listen to them, they sound like they not playing with a full deck. But I just like to, bring that out and want people to really, really think about what's going on and how we as citizens need to control the narrative. And what I mean by control the narrative is we make and demand our mainstream media to cover all aspects of the news in a non-sensational way. If it's the truth, it's the truth. If it's not, it's not. I say after all of this, I think it was on USA Today, and it was on ABC News. It was a tweet that they put out talking about this idiotic, quote-unquote, beef, which I feel that is not really a beef. It's something to drum up publicity between Kim Kardashian and Taylor Swift. Really? That's what we talking about? That's what we worried about? With all the death, starting with the 2 unarmed black men who got slaughtered, then the 5 brave men in Dallas, and then the 3, I don't know if it's bumped to 4 at this time, in Baton Rouge. After all of this that's going on, people are on edge. People don't know what's going on. People are scared. They don't know what the heck is going on. And that's what you decide to put out? Because we give a damn what they thinking about? Between rich people, who cares? But again, that is deflect. That's deflect what needs to be done. There is work to be done here, people. There is work to be done on all sides. And I don't mean this side working on their agenda and this side is working on their agenda. No. I'm talking about there is work to be done together to come to a common ground so we can move this inadequate, bigoted, racist, superiority system. We can kill it. And we can come up with a system that is fair for all who contribute and live in this country. We have to make the United States and its people live up to the creed of true equality and freedom and the pursuit of happiness for all. I don't care when it was written. I don't care who it was written for. The fact of the matter is all of us who were born here are full citizens. Full citizens entitled to the same rights. I wouldn't care if the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, I don't care if all that was done and there was nothing but Caucasian people on this patch of dirt when it was made. The fact of the matter is not that way now. The fact of the matter is everybody's paying taxes. The fact of the matter is everybody's contributing some way, shape, form, or fashion to this United States. Therefore, everybody needs the same equal opportunity to go forth and prosper. Period. And that's what I'm pushing for. And that's what I will continue to push for. That's what I will preach. That's what I will lecture. That's what I will live by. The same opportunities that I had is the same opportunities that everybody should have. The same opportunities I got to join the Air Force. The same opportunities that I had to fly all over this world. The same opportunities that I had to protect my community as a police officer, the same opportunities I had to get my MBA, the same opportunities that I had to raise my child to now she's a college graduate and she has her own career and she is traveling around the world. It's the same opportunity everybody else should get. Period. Now what you do with, and I've said this before, what you do with that opportunity is totally up to you. But the fact of the matter is you should have the same opportunity that anybody else has. And until this country does that, adheres to that, and promotes that, there's still work to be done. So I don't want to hear about who Kim Kardashian is in a beef with. I don't want to hear what shoes this person is selling or what clothing that P. Diddy or Kanye West is made that most people can't afford. I don't want to hear about these Nike shoes that most people can't afford. I don't want to hear about that. You want to impress me? Give 50% of the money coming in for a $300 pair of Nike shoes into the community in which the people are buying, so that now people have great schools, great housing, great communities. It's no dang on difference. It's not. It's no different. It is no different from, and I'm using this because I'm in Orlando. It's no difference between Winter Park or Bay Hill or Isleworth to Carver Shores, Richmond Heights, and Stonewall Jackson. If the resources are put there, people will come. Because don't get it twisted. There are people who live in Isleworth, Winter Park, Bay Hill, that do crimes, that smoke dope, that burglarize people. I mean, come on now. Give me a break. It's just statistics. It's just statistics. Just like it's hard for people, and I am a cop, it's hard for people to actually believe that there are racists and criminals who wear the badge. We come from the same pool that anybody else comes from. There's no different pool. There's no certain pool that you can come from and go, okay, well, this is the law enforcement pool, and we're all straight and narrow and don't get in trouble and don't have the same issues as far as home troubles and work troubles and substance abuse and all of that type of stuff. Yes, granted, it happens on a much less scale than the community, but it happens. And for us to sit around and put our heads in the sand and act like it doesn't happen is ignorant. Not ignorant, ignorant. So that's my time. I went over a little bit longer. We didn't have any commercial breaks. We didn't talk about crowdfunding or cash market or anything like that. I want you to find you a local bank, an independently owned bank, not a national bank, a independently owned bank, black, brown, white, Asian, whatever, and open up an account. Open up an account. Take $100 out of your national chain and bring that to a local bank. It's not going to kill you. I'm not saying take all your bread out of that national bank and put it in that independently owned black, brown, red, yellow, white bank. I'm not talking about that. I'm not asking you to do that. I've opened me up an account in a locally owned bank. Not here because they don't have any in Orlando. I think there's one, but I think that is like only on its face, independently owned. I think it's backed by a larger corporation. But I got to do my research, and if it is fully independently owned, I might open up an account there too. Find you a local business and cash mark them, frequent them. Just a little bit, just a little taste, just a little taste. You think about it. If you have 1,000 people open up one account and put $100 in one day, that's $100,000 of new money coming into that bank. And when you making deposits like that, I'm not talking about 100,000. You know, there's banks. The one that I joined, Citizens Trust Bank, in Atlanta, Georgia, they working towards $100 million in new money within a month or 2 months. It's only been a call to action like 2 weeks ago, and it's been more than 8,000 new accounts. So if you count just them 8,000 new accounts, and everybody, because you need $100 to open up an account, you do the math. Do your part. Cash mob these independently owned banks, businesses. Help the little man and woman out. Help them to get the American dream. Only then we can have a better community, a better world. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for the time. We'll see you on the next show. I think we're going to talk about politics, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Shoot, anything can happen between now and the next show. But I appreciate you. Again, email us at bigrichliveonthemic@gmail.com. Follow us across our media platforms. Capital B, capital R. Live on the Mic is the Twitter. We're on Tumblr, which is just Live on the Mic. And we're also on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Big Rich on the Mic. Join, conversate, share, comment, like, dislike, whatever you want to do it. It's only one way to do things. You do it big or you go home. I appreciate you. Stay safe, stay blessed. Most of all, stay informed. Big Rich Live on the Mic radio show on YouTube. Signing out. Peace.
Welcome to the Big Rich Live on the Mic radio channel. This show is part of the Dark Shadow Media Group, which is an up-and-coming media conglomerate across media platforms from Facebook to Twitter. This channel, we cover any and all topics of discussion. Nothing is taboo. You got a topic? Hit us up. You got a question? Drop a line. You got a problem? Bring it to us. You will always find truth and openness here on the channel. We're not afraid to stand up and be counted. We're not afraid to fail. We take what we do very seriously, and we'll do our best to make you feel right at home, you dig? Pull up a seat, take a load off, and stay a while. I promise you won't regret it. The Big Rich Live on the Mic radio show. Catch that fire.